Good morning, everybody. This is Sharon, and welcome to my world. For those of you who don't know me already, I am a registered nurse, and I've been working in healthcare and the medical field for over 38 years. And this week, I started a 6-month challenge along with some other ladies. And this challenge was for us to go live on video every day, Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. So that's my goal. 7 a.m. Central Standard Time is to go live at this time. And for the next 6 months, okay, so for 6 months, I am going to go live Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. And I hope that you can join me. I hope that you can join me live. And if you can't join me live, if you can join me on the replay. So watch the replay. And let me know in the comments if you are watching live or if you are watching the replay. Now, each day we will have a different topic of discussion. And because I'm in healthcare, my topics of discussion will be all around health and wellness, well-being, and things like that. So today, our topic, I'm going to begin with a question. Okay, so the question is, now this question is very important. It's a very important one for me. It's a very important one for you. The question is, how did we get here? And so what do I mean by that? How did so many of us, especially women over 50, end up relying on a cabinet full of prescriptions? So that's what we're going to kind of explore today. How did we end up with all these prescriptions? So we want to go back. We're going to go back a ways. We're going to go back into the past just a little bit. Most of us were raised in a time where doctors were seen as the ultimate authority. We would get ill and run to the doctor because he or she was the authority. Okay, so when we were ill, we had things going on in our body, things going on in our mind, we ran to the doctor because they were the ultimate authority. And that was the time we lived in. Okay, so it was also a time when we were growing up when we didn't question prescriptions. That wasn't encouraged. When we would go to the doctor, they would order a prescription and we would just take the prescription, take it to the pharmacy and get it filled. We didn't question it. We didn't say, are you sure that I need to have this? We didn't do any of that. Okay. And then the third thing I want to say about that is that back then we thought that the only real, put that in quotation marks, okay, the only real medicine came from the pharmacy. And so that's what we thought. That's the time we grew up. That's how it was in the past. And then I want to add to that. So as I add to that, we also lived in a culture that told us that productivity was more important than rest. So we ran ourselves ragged. We worked hard. We were grinding. We were told, to get ahead, you had to work hard like that. And so we rarely got rest. We worked from sun up to sundown. There was a lot of that going on. That's the culture that we lived in. We also lived in a culture that said pain was weakness. So if we were in pain, we couldn't let it show because, that's going to make us look weak. So that's the culture that we lived in. We couldn't have pain. Pain was a sign of weakness. You had to take pain medicine so nobody could tell that you were in pain. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, and then also the culture was that as you grew older, as you got older in life and start aging, things started declining. That's, declining in our body, in our mind. We declined as we got older. No one talked about the wisdom of the elderly. No one talked about that. So as you got older, you were declining. So with that being said, the culture, the time that we were raised in, all of that added to the situation where when we have symptoms show up, symptoms like anxiety, insomnia, joint pain, back pain, we had blood pressure issues, we had mood swings. When these symptoms showed up, we were told there's a pill for that. Am I right? You remember that? There's a pill for that. So go to your doctor and get that pill. So there's a pill for that. And with that, over time, all of that becomes normal. That way of doing things become normal. Now, we were never told to listen to your body, listen to your body's signals, because your body gives out signals. Your body talks, okay? You heard that phrase, your body talks. It's true. And it gives out these signals. So we weren't ever taught to listen to our body. And we were never taught to use herbs. Now my great grandmother, she used herbs all the time. She was always making a tea out of something from the backyard. So there was some of that going on all the time with my great grandmother. Now, we were also never taught to use food as medicine. I think it was Hippocrates who said, let food be your medicine and medicine be your food. I don't know if you've heard of that phrase before. It's like a quote. And that's true. There are a lot of minerals, vitamins, nutrition that are in the foods that we eat. So there are certain foods, depending on what's wrong, there are certain foods that you can start eating that'll improve those things. But we weren't taught that. Okay. We were also never taught to explore the emotional things that were going on. And we were never taught to explore the spiritual root or the emotional root of our diseases. So we have this dis-ease in our body, but no one ever taught us to, hey, let's look and see what's spiritually going on. And could that be the reason for your physical manifestation? We weren't taught that. Okay. So we were not broken. What we were was misled. So as we were growing up, in the culture we're living, we were misled and we were miseducated. But the good news is it's never too late to relearn something, reconnect to your body, and reclaim your health. It's never too late. Okay? So with that being said, have you ever looked at your medication list and then you would thought to yourself, especially if you were taking 5, 10 different prescription medications, and you're looking at your medication list, it's like, how did this happen? How did I get to be on this many medications? You know, technically, if you are taking 5 to 10 medications, prescription medications, it's called polypharmacy. You can look that word up. Yeah, polypharmacy. There's a term for it if you're on 5 or more, you know, prescribed medications. And so now if you have looked and you've seen you got all this medication, you've said, you know, how did this happen? Well, you're not alone, okay? And you're in the right place. So in the comments, this is what I want you to do. So in the comments, I want you to put the word reclaiming, because that's going to let me know that you are ready to start untangling from the web. We're in a web. You know, we talked about being in the medical matrix. That includes this web that we are in, that we're tangled in. So if you're ready to get untangled from the web that we're in and ready to get out of the modern medical matrix, write the word reclaiming. So that let me know that, you know, you're ready to change. You're ready for a change. You're ready to stop being on so many medications. You're ready to do something about it, right? You're ready to go and find some natural remedies. You're ready to go to find out what you need to do, you know, in the world of energy healing. You're ready to learn alternative methods for, you know, dealing with your health and wellness. So let me know. Okay, let me know in the comments. So that's pretty much what I had to say today. So I will see you tomorrow. Okay, I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow we were going to talk about your symptoms. Okay, and what they really are trying to tell you. You know, we have the symptoms. We don't have to run to the doctor to get a pill. Listen to your body. Listen to your symptoms. So tomorrow we're going to talk about the symptoms that you're having and what they are really trying to tell you.